Oh, I don't know what they're going to do.
That's pure damage right there, coming in from Saxa, blowing his opponent up. They quickly interrupt Duracho. Nice pulverized damage coming in with the BKB. Duracho's trying to run away. Can he stay alive? Hook stolen by Saxa, drags Duracho back, will cost him his life. And Duracho's still not dead somehow. Gets the blink off a little bit further forward, but will eventually be overwhelmed. And right now, they do not have Quinn. They do not have Duracho. They do not have anything. They're going to try and scout Roche, but it will not be up for another 50 seconds. But a very big fight there from Tundra, and I cannot believe that through that entire flurry of heroes, Saxa manages to steal the hook and even get it used onto the pike.
That is such a beautiful play, and they're able to find some success taking out 2 of those cores. It's a bit of a fight to take out the pike.
Make sure he cannot run away. He has to go all the way around the cliff to try and get to the high ground. It's actually kind of interesting. Thompson, with his ulti usage there, the break comes into play. There's no metamorphosis, so Tundra need to back off. Without meta, they kind of can't fight at all. Target here. They are trying to have a little bit of a war of vision. And Saxa on his trusted Rubik is stealing one of the strongest, most painful spells this game, the Chakram, pure damage, something that a Huskar is really bad at. And speaking of which, he's gonna get chopped down by Saxa! Just as that continues, they're gonna go for more. No buyback available for the Huskar. Ace the BKB, can the Timbersaw get away? The Sniper comes in to make sure there's no more Primal on his tail. The rest of the team, can they catch up? It is 33, but he doesn't have any good control for the Timbersaw to take him down. I hear the nom-nom from the Dismember. Pudge is fighting in one different direction. Ace is going to go for the TP out. Can Ace get away? No, he cannot, because again, Saxa is right there when needed. Thompson chasing for Duracho. BKB versus BKB. Hook comes back. Thompson is running out of his BKB, but there's the army. The Spiderlings are charging in. Sari bought back in the process. They're going to spot out Tofu. Can Tofu get away? He does have a bit of an escapist movement, but the Vicky will be slept by his own dart. Double jump to the side, taken down in the process. Net worth has been nullified, and back to the Roche, but this time Tundra goes.
They're trying to do everything they can, but Saska is quite possibly the best support I've seen this entire tournament. It doesn't matter what you give him in his hands, he's always able to find impacts, help confirm, and even deny escape as needed. We got a shard on the Primal Beast, as well as an Aegis on this Terrorblade. The question is, would this Terrorblade be able to get the farm to compete and keep up the fight against Tundra, or against Gaimin Gladiators, rather? And the answer is yes.
They take back control of the net worth chart at the very least. They got the Aegis, they got the free shard, which they gave to the Primal, so he's got the big old rock throw to yeet as is at his opponents. 33 in the meantime is building up the size of Vice. That's going to be a very big pickup as well. Because you really saw it on that Timbersaw. He was hard to lock down without the Rubik there. And that's the only thing that they really have for the lockdown. Speaking of which, the rock throw comes into play. Hookshot as well. The full control. The entirety of Tundra just surrounding Ace and badgering him to death. They're looking to knock onto the high ground and say hello to the Gaimin Gladiator's base.
Here we go, tower being brought down. And, man, they're just pushing this assault. Look at all that damage from the Broodlings. Certainly helps to have the Terrorblade, though I don't think they need it. Oh my goodness. This is a siege on the base.
Oh,
Gladiators, they don't want to buy back on this Tide Hunter, but now Not the tide on her, oh my goodness.
Saksa is
So many
nasty
teammates.
with that Rubik. So freaking nasty. Sleeping Dart Steal and managing to take out Tofu. That is really problematic. They lost a full set of racks. And it's the top set of racks as well, so it's normally the one that's hardest to secure. Daracho is going to get hooked upon. Tried to get the pushback, but will be able to TP out because the hook shot was already used, and that is the only BKB piercing stun that they have until, obviously, Thompson would hit level 25, or if Rubik gets an Ags. To be fair, he can steal some spells from the Pudge in a solid situation. But yeah, they're looking a little bit troubled here on Gaimin Gladiators for these engagements. King has died a couple of times too quickly.
Yeah, now we got a Kaya on the Primal Beast.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Play. And they're looking now with all 5 of them. They want to take the attempt to farm some gold in the meanwhile. And they'll realize those players are split farming, and they're going to decide to hunt them down rather than siege the base. I'm sure Gaimin Gladiators are going to be aware of this. They're going to start trying to skitter away. The Timber Saw is going to be difficult to chase. And the Pudge is already teleported out. Yeah, they'll be just fine.
They've got the scythe now on 33, so extra lockdown has joined the server here for Tundra. High ground sieging is still a little bit scary for the Tundra side. They have a lot of push, obviously, but Daracho on the Pudge with a good hook can displace the enemies pretty quickly. Speaking of displacement, Nightfall needs to be careful. Does have the Aegis. And is going to get dragged back in the process. Pops the BKB. Metamorphs is immediately going in for the fight. They find Ace on the side. He's completely separated from the rest of his team. The drag back comes in, and oh my god, the damage. Is there going to be a crit this time? Not really. But Ace is still on the retreat, chased by a couple of blasts. So close to dropping, but he is still alive somehow. 33 with the Hex possibly can join in the face. Saxa's dead though. That's a big death for the Tundra side. They might need to bail out. Nightfall's Metamorphosis is already half duration, and that is a pretty good sort of win for Gaimin Gladiators. They waste the meta, and they keep the Timber Saw somehow alive.
They're able to delay just for now. Get that bit of space, and man, they're even pushing forward openly in this mid lane. They want to turn this around, take the fight to them, knowing this Rubik is down. They're still diving this. They could find a Broodmother soon, but she's skittering away. Surprisingly, without much vision, just good instincts, they back off and get away just with the creep info. And man, those odds of win probability are dead even.
Yeah, it's a very close game, which is pretty impressive considering Tundra are playing with 2 substitutes at the moment. Granted, they are some top tier substitutes. Nightfall, of course, with Betboom got first place at the Eastern European DPC. As an off-laner though, and now he's playing as a safe lane. But they're going to go in with the axe. The taunt comes out. The control isn't going to be enough. Snaking's already dead. 33's on the run. The Broodmother is going to get taken down. And is there going to be any more shenanigans? Yes, Saksa should be a third one to be beat. Without the Terrorblade, they don't have much to fear. On the side of Gaimin Gladiator, Thompson is going to get control. Doesn't have his BKB available, and that's going to be 4 kills for Gaimin Gladiators, and none of them have a buyback at the moment. The only big, huge advantage is that there are no creeps to be found on the map anywhere close to the structures of Tundra.
And even if they were, not like you have any tower pushers on Gaimin Gladiators, and man, we can see that damage on the Huskar, 5,300 in that fight alone. And it's enough that the Terrorblade spot a Silver Edge. And going for the Satanic next, goodness.
Yeah, the breaks are really good this game against both the Huskar and the Timber Saw. So having as many as possible will always be a big plus. Question is, what are the next items going to be? Timbersaw is going for the Octarine core. Ace also has his own Scythe of Vice at the ready. Aether Lens. So Ace is a pretty big threat on the Timbersaw. Something that normally Timbersaws to the later portion of the game tend to fall off significantly, but he's brought in a lot of nasty utility and is also not the easiest to kill. As we saw previously, his Timber Chaining got him out of dodge and made them lose an engagement attempt from them.
That might be a nice and polite way to put it. It's terrible. He did find that early success. He can be competitive. They just need to find that next. As there's so many heroes with passives they're going to want to break in this lineup. And the fact that Scotty isn't enough is a little concerning.
Oh, Quinn.
They're going to immediately go for the spike. Flopper has the vision for the tight under follow-up. And man, the instant break, they're able to easily take Quinn down. No way for him to respond. And guess who doesn't have buyback as well? It's Gaimin Gladiators.
Yeah, Quinn's been caught out a couple of times too many. It's been a rough game for him on the last pick. Huskar likes to play. Of course, Huskar likes to play low HP, but with a break, 2 breaks on the opposing side, and with Scotty as well, playing on low HP tends to be very suicidal in such a game. It did again force out Nightfall's Metamorphosis. Question is, will they be able to do anything with it? And the answer is probably not. I mean, Roshan is up in 15 seconds, and it is the 3rd Roshan. So they could get themselves a nice freebie Ags or Refresher, and that would be obviously a huge boost for either of the 2 teams.
And sort of the boon is what they're trying to find at this point. You can see that net worth lead on the Terrorblade. They're just relying on this family carry, and they're going to immediately go into the Roach Pit. They've pushed out the lanes. They have to worry about the base on Gaimin Gladiators, and they're going to have to fight behind and deal with an Aegis. Terrorblade happily swapping out his good old power treads for it this second.
I did not see it.
I didn't see what else the Roach.
Yeah, was it a Refresher or was it an Ags? I slightly missed that one.
Oh, chart on the primer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, then you got the double BKB, double wombo combo pretty much that the hero brings to the table, because it is a lot of disruption once he charges into the fray. Get a sleeping dart on him, but with 4 staffs they'll be able to get Thompson out of harm's way at the very least. Currently, it's actually surprising that Darachu is this close in net worth to the TB of Nightfall. Normally, when you see TBs in a game, they're like stupidly farmed. They're like ridiculously 10k ahead of any other core in the game farm. But they are keeping up very significantly. Granted, it is a game with 58 kills so far, so they have been brawling quite a significant amount.
And they're having quite a bit fun with the brawls. The adjustment, you know, they did do the stalling, not initially going for that contact play and everything, but being able to change it up helps a lot. Now, let's see, we got the Hex, the Pipe, and now going for
Lotus.
a Lotus Orb on the Broodmother.
It's a pretty good Lotus Orb game. There are a bunch of spells that you want to reflect. Obviously, you know, Pudge, Ulti, Crystal Maiden's Freeze is pretty annoying to get out of. Also, the Sleeping Dart is something that you want to possibly reflect if you can. And the Huskar ulti would be perfect, because then he'd taunt himself, sort of. Keep himself occupied. They're going to charge in onto the high ground. Can they get the damage in? The break is there. The damage is significant. Quinn is being slowed down. There's a break stolen in the process. The charge is going deeper with the refresher used from Thompson. Double kill secured. Dodson in the building. Nightfall trying to man fight up against the Rachu. Does still have a Sunder available, but Thompson's going to get control on the side. He got a little bit too greedy, a little bit too far. The hook comes in. Saksa is going to get control. Nice drag back out of there. The taunt comes into play for Quinn. Does he get the control? And actually, Quinn is going to die. That's going to be a dieback as well. Darachi with the buyback. hook back onto the high ground. Timbersaw needs to disengage. They bought back en masse for the Gaimin Gladiator side, but they will finally get themselves to control. The Aegis is going to get popped in TP without the Metamorphosis into no TP no longer. The X comes out immediately, and finally they do manage to get the strip, but it did cost them 3 buybacks and a dieback onto Quinn. So a very dangerous situation for Gaimin Gladiators, where one next bad fight could be everything.
A necessary evil, because without it, it would be GG at this point, and they need everything they can get. We can see going back through, Quinn just getting shut down so hard.
Boom! That double kill right there. Oh, refresh that just on time. Gets a little bit too aggressive afterwards and surrounded by the bought back Huskar. Obviously with the Aghanim Scepter could not really muster out a escape, but Quinn leaping in further forward. It's dangerous to try and taunt a Terrorblade in the process. However, at the very least, they did manage to kill the remaining Tundra heroes, the fairies at least. But can they get much done with it? As we can see in the bottom right, not really, no.
Okay. And now just viewed, just being able to turn things around, that was what's so important. Also means they can get these gold to try to find some items to change the tide of this battle that is favoring the Tundra way. And there's some long cooldowns. I would hope everyone on Tundra has buyback available. That's what it looked like was the case, since they all got taken down. And the win probability swinging towards the Gaimin Gladiators direction. I'm surprised.
Yeah, so
how far it's swung over.
It's an interesting one. They did get a lot of gold out of that fight, even though it cost them a buyback on 3 heroes and the dieback on 1. But they are in a spot where one bad fight could cost them the entire game. Dyrachyo dies. It's not necessarily over because their other 2 cores are still very scary. But it is in a very dangerous spot. Quinn's net worth has just plummeted off the face of the earth at the moment. Compared to, let's say, Ace, for instance, who is just loving life on the Timbersaw. He's got... Does he have an equipable axe coming in? Because Ace is incredibly fat.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, and that's a bit concerning. How do they break through him? That's going to be the challenge as they take this team fight.
They're going in. Nightfall with, again, the BKB pop going in. But the Aeon Disc popped by Dyrachyo. Is it going to keep him alive? No, it's not. Oh, the Refresher. Dyrachyo is going to try and stay alive for a little bit longer. Gets the blink back. The Refresher keeps him going. But the rest of the team is in trouble because they do not have their Pudge available anymore. He cannot do much except for hook Quinn out of harm's way. Ace gets the kill on Snaking in the process, but they're chasing for more. Sox out with the control. Is it possible to keep them at their back in arms? It will be a 2-for-1 trade. Again, Metamorphosis was used, but he did buy a Refresher on Nightfall, so he has another meta available for the high ground push. And this time, there's not a double Aeon Disc to keep the Pudge alive.
On top of it, using the Refresher Orb early, not to sustain the Metamorph, not to be able to get off another Panic Sunder quickly. No, it was just so he could get another Silver Edge break against these cores, and that's the entire reason. Despite all the refreshers and the Aeon Discs used on the Pudge, he is unable to stay alive and gets broken through. Now the Riki forces by back, and they are going to try to turn this around. Able to break pace, and oh no, they see the Huskar, they see Quinn. They will back away even with the slow.
Oh, run, Piggy, run! The slowest Piggy the world has ever seen, and with that Sleeping Dart, it's very problematic. Dyrachyo has a hook available if he gets the lucky one, should secure a kill, but they're going to back off. They don't really have another Metamorphosis available, and Refresher is on cooldown, so they are going to back off after forcing out the Tofu buyback. However, this is wasting a lot of time, and that's a little bit scary because the buybacks from Gaimin Gladiators are getting closer and closer.
I have to start wondering now on, just the game as a whole. I wonder how much the odds have swung back the other way. It seems like this is just game number 1, and it's already going the distance.
It is, it is a pretty lengthy game, and it's a lot on the line.
Oh, MKB on the Terror Blade.
Okay,
Radiant's bottom
yeah,
At his 7th slot now.
he's swapping in every item that he possibly can right now.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Another pudge. I mean, to be fair, if you have a nullifier, that pudge is dead. Because he can't get the double and this procs off anymore. But Roche will respawn in 2.5 minutes, so a very late Roche respawn time at this time. It is everything you want though with the refresher, with the Aghanim Scepter. Dyrachyo is solo towards top lane. And,
No.
well, he does have the Aeon Disc refresher, Blink. Possibly
Down immediately once again. Those years and years ago. It's weird how that works.
I'm happy the shrines are gone. They were a pain. Stupid sustain. It's kind of like water runes now, but slightly different. I mean, significantly different, obviously, but it did add in a lot of sustain in the spots where you did not want to see them.
Much needed. After all the mid camp was removed, and that was an option of sustain for some characters towards mid. Take it down.
That's just the change of the game. Let's see. Thompson, he's going for the refresher orb next. He does have himself the Lincolns. We did see what he could do with the refresher previously. That was a lot of work. Smoke gets broken. That is Tofu with the invis. I hear a bunch of wards being placed in the process. Both sides aiming for that Roche. But the problem is top lane is being pushed in. Mid lane is being cut by the Terror Blade. And that's the big downside of playing against TB. He will be constantly able to put pressure on your lanes while you're scurrying around the Roche pit to find what is essentially a huge objective at this point in the game. 33 is not there.
That's what the focus.
He TP'd back to
Oh
base.
boy, they're pushing in. Oh, good sentry, able to get to sleep early, but it forces the blink out. They're able to expose this Ricky, and now we
Save
start
from
what could be
Dyrachyo,
the last team
but
fight.
he's in trouble. Dyrachyo is going to get controlled up. The fight goes onto the side. Quinn is already dead. No buyback available for Quinn. They tried to keep their heroes alive, but Dyrachyo, what might it have cost? It might have cost them the entire game. Dyrachyo is going to get overwhelmed. Does also not have a buyback available, and he's still on the dieback timer right now. 1,000 gold off of it. Tofu, the man that got caught, cost them so much. 3 deaths without a buyback available between them. Crystal Maiden has one soon, but 33, the only one that TP back to base, the only one that had a buyback.
The fact that this Terrorblade's able to get the Silverjaw edge off 20 seconds, he was able to get it on the Huskar, allow them to burst him down in the middle of that team fight, and now with the Aegis, everything in their control, no idea that there isn't even the buybacks available. The chance for Tundra to take this first game away are ludicrous, and even with 2 stand-ins, they're ready to convert this.
No one picked up the cheese. It's still in the pit.
They don't need it.
I mean, everyone needs a bit of Gouda. Ooh, celery.
Oh.
Danger gaming right now, but they do have themselves a free Ags for Nightfall, and he uses that Terror Wave for the high ground push. Has the refresher obviously available and needed to get his actual metamorphosis off, but there is no buybacks available, and they don't really fear anything at this stage. It's just going to be the defending game coming through, and a second set of racks in favor of Tundra. On towards the bottom to secure Megas before Dyrachyo will be respawned, because he's 800 gold away and he will not get it back in time. They're actually going to go in on to Quinn. He's going to get broken. Quinn, the 4 staffs do it. They keep him alive. No, they do not. The Husker is just easy fodder. And with that metamorphosis, they should manage to most likely get themselves at the very least megas, if not more. They are keeping the TV occupied quite significantly though, Nightfall.
They're able to keep this fight going for so long.
Overlift up, drag back, the damage is immense, and
counter.
The ace kill has been secured. A 7-kill streak, that's how long he's been alive, has come through, but he was the one with a vital available direction. He's going to go in onto the TV. Nightfall, can he get the Thunder off? He does get the full Thunder off. Heals back to Ace's full HP. Duracho with the pressure has to run away. No vital on Ace. The charge forward, she got it. He's going to get the pulverized smackdown coming in. Lotus was too late, and they find Duracho. No buybacks available, and it seems no chance available here for Gaimin Gladiator. So, without the substitutes, Gaimin Gladiators stomp Tundra. With the two subs, they managed to take game number 1 against Gaimin Gladiator. That is a pretty phenomenal performance coming out. Honestly, from both of them, obviously, but what was Saksa good on that Rubik? That mid-game, taking down Quinn single-handedly almost multiple times. Oh, the Huskar pick did not pay off.
They understood exactly what the win condition was on this Tundra side. Getting the right items on this TB, that is... It feels a little bit weird at first. It's just like, wait, he's got a Silver Edge? And a Refresher? Doesn't scream normally like the top priority items you get after a BKB and a Manta. But you can see, he just ends up eventually throwing the Manta away. Too many slots, doesn't need it. Just needs the damage and the break to counteract these cores. And it was such a good game from this Huskar to do the delay, but that Pudge cannot keep up with a Terrorblade, and the fact that was all these survival items. You can't blame him for doing his best. But man, Saska, once again, on that support. Just always able to catch players out.
Yeah, Saksa was superb on the Rubik, caught so many great spell steals. The Chakram that he stole, taking down Quinn, being just absolutely phenomenal. Multiple times he got himself the Sleeping Dart as well, and just in general, the lifts from long range, hooks, mid-team fight, everything. Saksa was insane, but so were the two subs. Honestly, the entire lineup did so much together, and it was a full-on team effort from Team Tundra. But that's only game number 1, ladies and gents. We got ourselves 2, maybe 3 games of this series. We'll be going towards a short little break to refresh, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 was an absolute blast. It was a nail-biter all the way through. The drafts were wacky, the plays were insane, and eventually it was Tundra that managed to win game number 1. But new round, new chances, new heroes possibly as well. Actually, to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me at all for new heroes. But Trevor, what a blast that game number 1 was, wasn't it?
Yeah. What a blast, these two teams, just very creative drafts, throwing us, tossing and turning every single direction, a nail biter until the end, and just a hard carry from that TV with some fantastic support behind him to find that success. You know, Sasuke and the Primal Beast 2 on tops and mid, just able to create so much space for them.
Yeah, and it was actually Gaimin Gladiator just started off the game super well as well. They won pretty much their lane. Well, mid went a little bit awry, but net worth wise, they won all 3 of their lanes. They looked pretty dominant. They had Tofu killing off everyone on the map at one point, but eventually they just managed to get it to the later points. And right now we have a turn back the clay here. Broodmother versus the Pudge plus Crystal Maiden. It would not be too surprising to me if we get to see another Rubik coming in for Saxa.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they just go through it here and just pick the TV early, because even with the little bit of a weird build, it was able to find that answer, and I think that's what they're debating. Do we go for the Rubik or do we go for the TV? Because it's certain that Gaimin Gladiators are going to ban out the other, and they're going to prioritize that Rubik, and who can blame them?
Yeah, he was pretty good. Again, against Crystal Maiden and Pudge, the spell steals are insane. There will probably be a couple, like some very interesting bans. Undying ban, okay, that's an interesting ban. It is pretty okay against the Pudge, I guess, because Pudge does not have good attack speed. But yeah, I assume an Ursa ban will be coming in as well, because Ursa tends to be a good old tank buster against a hero like the Pudge.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
With the Batrider ban, there is immediately when I think see a Batrider being banned, I always think about the Treant Protector. It's being played a lot in this current patch, but as in Southeast Asia, it gets played nearly every game. But a Batrider is really good against it. Granted, it is also a very good hero for Quinn, so it might just be a respect ban in that regard to make sure that they will not be running you down. There we have the Darkseer ban, and that forebodes a possible, again, TB pick coming in for Tundra. Which is...
I would be surprised if Gaimin Gladiators don't ban it, though. You got the classic Batrider removed, the Darkseer, 2 of the best counters to respawn. I mean, we've seen that even with the Huskar and Pudge, you can cause some trouble, but there will be a point where he can just out-carry you. And another carry that can out-carry you even easier is the Ursa. It's him and the TB. I'm going to assume that's where their last 2 bans are dedicated going to this next phase. And I'm not sure where that's going to lean us towards next.
They could always try and bamboozle play and give like Ace the Pudge in case it's needed and get a different safe laner if they want to. Hell, maybe even Quinn wants to take a crack at the Pudge mid. But there we have the Ricky ban. That makes a lot of sense. Tofu was really convincing on the Ricky last game. They did not win it, of course, but that entire early game was just a Tofu show.
Yeah, I can say the Ursa doesn't have the most enjoyable early game, but he can find success against it.
5 seconds remaining.
And with that, you know, they still have so much of this reserve time, but they're going to have to use it. Do you want to ban out that TB? Do you want to be able to answer that? I'm surprised that, again, like I mentioned, that they didn't save the Ursa for themselves. It takes a bit to get that Battle Fury, but it does an amazing job against the Spiders. He's able to come back and snowball pretty quickly with that Ursa, and we know you can just directly go and fight up against the TB if you ban it. but instead they're having to use both of these bans to get rid of the Ursa and the TB, and going with the Hoodwink to respond.
Okay, Hoodwink, it's another Tofu hero. He loves to play it. He spams the hero into oblivion at the moment. Pretty solid hero. Spells are pretty nice to steal, though, for the Rubik, possibly. It lanes well with some nice targets, and you can find the Broodmother in the trees. I think that's specifically like the most important thing. You can find the 33 Broodmother scurrying about in the tree line, and that is what they'll be trying to use the Bushwhack for most of the time. Though the downside is that you can be hunted down through the trees, so it does have an adverse effect in that regard.
I mean, the Hoodwink gives you this good lockdown for both the Rubik and the Broodmother and whatever else they try to bring out. And with the Terrorblade taken out, they have to figure out something else to respond. And the Pangolier is a decent option, gives you the flexibility, doesn't give away your draft necessarily, though. With the Broodmother, I'm going to assume that it has to be a Topson Pango.
It's very likely a Topson Pango, Snaking, Phoenix, both very clear-cut priority picks for those two players specifically. Yeah, just give them comfort, and there we get to see the Quinn. It is an interesting matchup between the Pango and the Ember. There is, honestly, definitely outplay potential, but most of the time it does favor slightly the Ember Spirit in those engagements. One thing that I do find a little bit worrying for the side of Tundra is last game they had a struggle with lockdown. A significant struggle. Like, Rubik was all the lockdown they had. This time they have a Phoenix, and you kind of need to have everyone close to the Phoenix. And the only one that really has AoE good, solid lockdown would be the Pangolier. So Topson and Snaking, if they want to have like any egg stunning any enemy, you kind of need to group them all together, because Ember's very evasive. Hoodwink is very evasive. The other two are very slow, but for the most part, it should be just A-okay. One, I do think that they should get something with attack speed, though, for the Phoenix Egg, in case you can't run away. That's why it is a very good choice to ban out the Beast Moss, because Beast Moss, of course, has that attack speed aura, which is very effective to kill off an egg.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and it's just a really good offlaner to remove. And all this is like, well, you have to use your last pick to answer this Phoenix, or you're going to have to deal with the egg in every single team fight. And even then still, it looks like I actually misread that bit. You will have that last pick, and you'll have to debate, do you want to try to deal with the carry? Do you want to try to deal with the safe laner? You know, what do you want to do? And they just are not interested in dealing with that Timber in game number 2. It's pretty problematic game number 1. One of the main reasons they were able to get the first bloods, create all that space in the early game to get that lead and momentum and to keep this game so contentious.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's an interesting ban, the Timber saw. We did see Ace last game. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense because Ace was so good. Like, it's kind of, that was a top tier Timbersaw performance. They lost, granted, but the amount of farm he got, the amount of impact he had in team fights, his item build as well with the Scythe of Ice at a reasonable timing. It was impeccable in his duties there. This time around, will they give him another core that can transition that expertly? They ban out the Doom. Last pick is for Gaimin Gladiator, so we might still get a big surprise off lane for Ace. It could still be the Pudge off lane. That would honestly not be surprising in the slightest. If they want to decide that they want to flex it around. And there's going to be the CK. Okay, that is a hero that we get to see sometimes to moderate success, I would say.
Maybe overall, most of the time I've seen it, it's been disappointing at best.
I'm trying to
usually
bump it up a bit.
Usually they try to find the success without the ults. There's a lot of just AoE damage to clear the illusions off. So I think a lot of it's going to be relying on getting this lockdown with the Rubik, I suppose, and maybe a little bit of the Pango.
The CK stun
to try to allow the CK to get those bursts. The CK stun is certainly nasty.
But
And importantly, that passive gives sustain. I don't know how well he goes up against in the strength matchup in comparison to, say, the Pudge. I don't know if it's as good as, say, a Lifestealer, for example.
oh no, Lifestealer would be 10 times better to kill off a Pudge. I actually think CK is probably a very weak choice in that regard. It is good to kill off the supports and possibly Ember if Ember is slightly underfarmed, but the downside of a Pudge is he gets Axe, then you have the healing reduction against the Broodmother's healing, which is going to go Guardian Greaves, against the Phoenix Sunray, which is obviously a ton of healing, and the CK's third spell, I cannot think of the Chaos Strike, something along those lines. It's just the healing reduction from the Pudge. It almost instantly will lose his CK illusions. Like his goal this game is summon Phantasm, hide in trees, blink, kill support. That's kind of how he's supposed to take these fights. And with the Tide in the mix, their team fight, AoE, control, damage, sustainability is going to be really hard to break through. Like the Tide and Pudge are hard to kill this game. So I definitely am feeling Gaimin Gladiator's draft this time to be a reasonable amount stronger. Granted, Phoenix Sunray is very good against both the Pudge and the Tide Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, the entire reason they went for the Tide is they needed something that could answer this Broodmother to be competitive. And if there's a game for the CK to find success, I feel like this one should be it. There's not those big damage spellcasters. I mean, sure, the CM and the Pudge can do decent damage, but considering, you always have the passive on those illusions, it's just kind of a battle of who can sustain more. And maybe the burst damage is too much and it's just able to, pop through that strength and crack through the iron eggshell of this defense. It's kind of the big mystery here. And considering they have the Pango with it too, that's pretty good. The team fight is insane, and it does, I would argue the Pango answers the lockdown question for the Phoenix. Just the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, I think a 4-staff or 2, like if the Crystal Maiden and the Hoodwink both get a 4-staff, they have kind of destroyed the Rolling Thunder, and then they can get out most of the time. Personally, I'm going to throw my eggs in the Gaimin Gladiators basket this time around. So to hear you're going for Tundra, so we're going to be on opposite sides this time to see who's going to be the correct in the process. But yeah, CK has not, as you said, been as successful lately. Maybe we get to see some blast from the past performance coming out from the Nightfall CK.
I just like winning.
I don't see any reason that can't be brought out to keep things nice and spicy.
Well, do you want to keep things nice and spicy? Don't forget to press the banner below the stream to get yourselves a $15 free bet over at Betboom. It is going to be first blood secured, another kill at the start of the game, and another freeze into hook combination. It is, well, different lane, same story.
They enjoy getting this first blood. And I don't know, is the Pudge something Gaimin Gladiators go for so often, or is it specifically against this Brood situation?
It's primarily against Brood, but they also like to play it in general. Duracho is a lover of strength melee heroes. Like Dawn is a hero that he loves. He's played the safe lane Mars a reasonable amount of times. He kind of just plays everything that's required for his team, but his Pudge is really good. He kind of reminds me of Watson in that regard. Both the safe laners tend to just like play whatever their team requires of them.
Certainly makes enough sense. Field Crash did connect there. I almost thought it just completely missed and didn't connect. Level 1's going to be nice for the Ember. Once it gets to the level 3, that's when the Pango has the chance to really get that burst damage through and turn things around.
Yeah, that top lane, we've seen it previous game that it went horribly wrong with the freeze into hook combination. Speaking of which, they're going to try it again. Saxa gets dragged back. There is no rot yet for Duracho, so he cannot realistically run down the Rubik, but you do that one more time and the Rubik is dead. So you got to be a little bit careful in that regard. Towards mid, Thompson's got himself already 3 denies. That's not too shabby. And in the other lane, I'm actually wondering if there's even a good possibility for a kill fest there, because Tide's hard to kill, CK's kind of hard to kill. I guess maybe the supports in the bottom lane could be killed off in the process. I think mid is probably the lane where we're going to see most of the kills happening, because these guys are kind of wild, especially Thompson. He's known for being, you know, obviously 2-time TI winner, but also a little bit of a a wacky performer in regards to being called the pub star, because he tends to just want to run you down every single time. Oh, that's a nice catch. Bottom lane, Snaking's going to get taken down. Good bushwhack. Toxa in the meantime just got hooked again. And that is going to be 3 kills for Gaimin Gladiators already. And they're even looking for 33. He's trying to heal up with the Insatiable Hunger. Lifesteal is pretty nice, but Duracho, he's pretty scary on that punch.
They're making sure not to give him the space to be able to regen it early. And again, Gaimin Gladiators. Man, this early game is always so strong from them. Ready to take the fights, to take the competition.
Well, they are brawly mentality coming in. And it makes for entertainment.
That's kind I enjoy when things become a bit of a brawl fest. Your teams encouraged to do so. Guess he was just focused on last hitting that creep while respecting the shield. I'm going to trust that it was a bit of a whiff on that swashbuckle. Shouldn't be the biggest deal though. But they're waiting for this level 6 on this entire off lane to be able to compete, because CM Pudge is such a strong combo.
Currently, Quinn is having a very good time in the mid lane matchup. Definitely knows the matchup between an Ember and a Pango. Pango has problems killing off the Flame Guard, and that's why you can pretty much run him down most of the time. Keep him away from the creeps, and you get all the loss that's needed. Bottom lane, Ace is taking a lot of damage here. In the Kraken shell, actually, so Ace is in trouble. Body blocks, are they going to happen? Nice bushwhack comes in, the slow onto Nightfall as well, and now they want to go back in. They've got themselves a Mango to try and get the splatter, but it will be the drag back from Nightfall. It's nice minus armor. Snaking barely survives. Nightfall barely survives. It's very scary for both these sides to stay in the lane.
There we go. And I mean, if there's one character that normally should be good with the sustain, it is the Chaos Knight. The fact that he's having such a rough time early is telling of how dominant these lanes are on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. Just having to sacrifice these supports time and time again to keep these cores alive, getting their last hits. A good, real respectful high five.
Always, hashtag Tofu, big fan. He's really good. At his laning space specifically, he is insanely talented. Towards mid, Quinn is honestly doing an insanely good job this game, where he struggled last game on the Huskar. Got that last pick against the Primal Beast. It did not pay off as well as he would have liked. A nice bottle refill there by Tofu to make sure Quinn does handle his lane superiorly. 33 is going in on Duracho. The damage from Gaimin Gladiators is not enough, because the healing from the Broodmother is up to snuff. Drag back as well. They're going to surround Celery. Going to get the kill secured. The chase should be more than plentiful, and Celery on that Crystal Maiden will be taken down. Saxa with a double kill. And yeah, this is what I've seen a lot of the time. Last game, of course, the Pudge plus Crystal Maiden won that lane, but I see a lot of games where the Pudge actually loses because Insatiable Hunger healing, like the initial burst damage coming out from the Pudge is great, but then Insatiable Hunger healing comes out, and then it gets really dicey afterwards. Towards mid, a lot of damage coming out onto Quinn. Double damage, gets picked up by Thompson. This is very scary for Quinn. He's going to get taken down. The bushwhack comes in a second too late. And now the two supports are going to hunt down for Saxa. They do have the slow Tofu. Can they take down the Rubik? And he's gonna go expecting to already lose his life, so trying to man fight. Might be able to scoop up that bounty. Actually denies it in the process, but will die. Tofu with a double kill. 4-0-1 on Tofu. Again, looking pretty good for the Hoodwink.
There you go. Got a bit of those good old right clicks coming in.
Well, Ace is winning his lane quite convincingly on the Tide. Has almost got his Ravage available as well. So then everyone needs to be careful if they're going to go for any tower dive shenanigans. But yeah, this Tide is loving life. CK is not very well suited for taking out a Tide, because he does have also that AoE armor reduction. Ooh, Duracho gets caught out in the top lane, and yeah, Broodmother is not a hero that you can easily counter with the punch pick. It's a hard hero to beat.
But able to find those early levels, about to get that level 6 in these off lanes to have that sustain, and this Pengo ready to fight directly against Quinn. So there's someone that should be able to win out mid-duels. It would be this Ember, able to consistently dodge those Pengo swashbuckles.
Definitely capable so far. He's got himself the full Orb of Corrosion. That's good for ganking. Doesn't have a point in searing change just yet, so slightly less good for ganking at this stage. But you know what is good? Gives themselves a nice $15 free bet over at Betboom with the banner below the stream. Currently Rolling Thunder from top, so will not be able to catch on to Tofu. And his Rolling Thunder has ended. They have no way of holding him in place without the searing chains available on Quinn.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's courier has been killed. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Oh.
I don't consider myself the best player.
Yeah, he's still significantly ahead of the Pudge of Duracho, but Duracho has himself the Vanguard already, so he can just jungle and farm up pretty efficiently. Tier 1 tower top lane has already been secured by the Broodmother. Bottom lane, Ace is going to try and do the exact same. Actually, Ace is going for more AoEs, building up the Ags as his first item. I love this choice. It's so good this game. You've got the armor reduction and the AoE, from the AoE gush coming into play. Just in general have AoE gush, which first of all is superbly just strong to have. And it will be able to clear up the CK illusions, the Broodmother spiders, everything that you need. Oh my god, Tofu almost gets shellacked there. Tries to go for the TP into the trees, will be taken down by Thompson, who is going to try and do as much as he can. But that will be the end of the roll. It's a 5-kill streak that he manages to pick up, so that's at least a decent payday.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They just smoked underneath. Hard vision there from the Tundra side, so they're going to back off. They know a gank attempt is coming, and they will make way of it. Yeah, Nightfall's just going to go to the other side of the jungle. He's got his armlet done. He's going for the Echo Saber afterwards, and just farm to his heart's content. Same thing that obviously Duracho needs to do at this point, because he walks into the top lane. It gets a bit scary. Speaking of scary, Saksa will be jumped quickly and taken care of quickly. Was hoping that he'd get a Fire Remnant steal there from Quinn, but unfortunately the Flame Guard was used a little bit later. Getting ran down. Ace used the Ravage as well. He's going to get taken down. That's going to be 4 kills there for Tundra. Duracho did not rotate in because he is kind of behind in terms of net worth, trying to get some farm going. But big fight there. And a lot of good catches for the Tundra side, opening up the tier 1 tower towards mid. And it's an engagement they desperately needed as well. Because obviously the Pudge was struggling, but the rest of the Dire side was looking pretty good, looking very comfortable. Somebody in the trees will be caught out by a nice Tundra catch coming into play. And Ace, his Aghanim Scepter is getting closer. The Axe is actually a very big pickup if he can get it, even though he only has level 1 Gush at this stage, so that would be a little bit sad. But the Tide is still not the easiest hero to kill, because if you go for the Tide, they can TP in pretty quickly to help him out. But top lane, that's where the ganking squad is heading. They're looking for Duracho again. Will they be able to get a kill? Duracho pops his ulti, gets the Nom Nom on the Rolling Thunder, gets the Rolling Thunder completely interrupted, and oh my lord, a huge kill onto Topson, but the stolen freezing field almost gets rid of Duracho in the process. They should be able to find Saksa as well, and that will be a second kill for Gaimin Gladiator. So the gank attempt has failed for Tundra, and that is because, well, BKB Piercing is there with the Pudge ult.
It will pierce indeed, and it just pierces a bunch of kills, and we just go back and forth once again. And it seems like Tundra are completely willing to adjust to play this bloody playstyle, just fighting back and forth, and able to find the success. You know, the Terrorblade, it was a bit of a clawing fashion, having to fight through, but the CK is able to be a lot more successful early, and you can see that as he's in the top of the net worth charts. And they're setting up for him to take control of this game once again. Rely on just the legendary presence of these stand-ins to create the space needed.
Let's see, Tundra. They are currently 1k ahead, and Quinn is gonna say hi, immediately disengage, trying to get the BKB. Once they have BKBs on the side of Gaimin Gladiators, they have a lot less to fear because there is no BKB piercing effects available. They are going to get a big catch, and that's why they went for the Tofu Hoodwink, because Bushwhack is very good in catching out the Broodmother that likes to run through the tree lines. 33 will falter, but towards mid Duracho, he's underneath the tower. It's very risky. Actually, in comes the Ember, going to say hi. That's going to be Quinn. Onto his dear opponent, Saxa, but the Rolling Thunder in return could be a bit of a problem. Sleight of Fist, the Phoenix Egg has been dropped. Big jump away by Quinn in the process. Will they continue for more? It's an Ace has his Aghanim Scepter now done, so a lot of damage to be thrown out from the fight. Doesn't have a Ravage available. Duracho staying back, goes for the hook and actually drags back Thompson. Doesn't have a Rolling Thunder available, but Duracho might have put himself in an awkward spot. The Snaking just burning him down. With the sun healed up, can they get the catch onto Thompson? It seems that will be the trade-off. Again, Duracho falters. They do manage to find the enemy mid.
Oh boy, now with that, this Phoenix trying to run. They don't want to lose more after this Pango. Able to save the Rubik just momentarily. Man, those Broodlings doing so much damage. Sam's able to get that under control. And back to farming they go, waiting for the rest of the team to respawn before they go to skirmish once again. And what Tundra and Gaimin Gladiators deserving this upper bracket slot for this upper final.
Well, that is indeed the upper final. Winner of this best of three heads on over towards the grand finals. There is another match after this series that will be Team Straight versus Entity. We'll be facing up against each other to see who is going to make it towards the end of the run here.
There we go. Just that Phoenix burn. It's so disgusting. Satsuka able to get another.
Yeah, the Phoenix Sunray is doing a pretty insane amount of damage in all of these fights. That's the plus of playing against strength heroes on the opposing side. Quinn gets jumped. Can they get the full stun lock secured onto the Ember? It's going to be a little bit more problematic than that if you just fire Remnant back to safety. And in the meantime, Ace is building up the pipe, so he's just building up defensive tools. Did not go for the Guardian Greaves this game, so they don't have the healing on their side. But definitely a big plus to build some more defensive, because they are getting just destroyed primarily by the magic damage until the CK is strong enough to be able to man fight his opponent. Speaking of which, Nightfall does have his BKB available, and Nightfall has not really shown his face that much just yet. Duracho, though, will be jumped here in the bottom lane. Does have his Ag, so you can see a lot of damage in return coming out.
Oh my goodness, that's without the illusions.
Yeah, that's Pudge that's been struggling a little bit this game against Nightfall, who's been loving life. He also does have the Mage Slayer now, so the magic damage coming out from the Rot will be also significantly reduced. He desperately needs that, because otherwise it would be a tough fight to muster.
With that, I just get worried, because this Broodmother, she's had a couple of failings, but 33 is always able to get the farm back, keep her in the game, and it's going to get all this big utility team fight abilities. This Tidehummer's decent at farming, but nowhere near the Broodmother. It's enough to force the Phoenix to go through the egg, as with the Hoodwink, that would be able to get the snipe to take out, if not for the egg.
Well, the CK is pretty big. So, what can he get done? Haven't really seen the illusions too much just yet, but hopefully we'll get to see a brawly moment soon enough on the in this game. They have just had very small skirmishes for the most part. There was that one big fight where they lost 4 heroes on the Gaimin Gladiators end. But now with Quinn also securing his BKB, they are looking for an engagement here towards the top. 33 is lurking about in the area, but decides to TP towards bottom. So both teams trying to sneak up on their respected opponents.
Both teams ready to fight, and perhaps too ready to fight, as they have the exact same idea, so end up on opposite sides of the map. So thankfully, they'll keep that similar idea in mind, so they'll take the contact in a little bit late towards mid, and that's a beautiful combo into the Pango. But again, the Phoenix with the mech from the Broodmother, it's enough sustain. They saved the Pangolier, and he's rolling in, and that's going to be a taken out Pudge. That's going to give these Broodlings be able to hunt down, try to find some chase. They want to take out the Pangolier.
Oh, but there's
again,
a CK with the Phantasm.
And that is a deleted CM.
Yeah, that's 2 kills without the Pudge. They're not as safe. Quinn misses the Fire Remnant to the high ground, but he is going to try and disengage. Ace blocks any entry, any chase coming forward, and it will be a fallback by the side of Tundra. They did manage to again get a double kill, almost taking care of Thompson in the process, but the problem was the healing, the sustain coming in from the Sunray, from the guarding Greaves on the Broodmother. They could not survive. They could not have the damage to kill off Thompson just in the nick of time. And when the Rolling Thunder is going off, they have a little bit of damage that they can throw on him, with like the Sleight of Fist and possibly the Dismember, but without it, it's going to be really tough to kill off the Pango while he's rolling. They can't really touch him at that stage.
Keep that up. And I'm a bit worried. The Tidehunter has 1,000 net worth on the Pudge. That's supposed to be the position 1. But the CK, he doesn't scream to me the best counter. You know, I saw the Terrorblade having to go for the Silver Edge despite how much damage he can find.
Oh!
But it's not going to be that case. Oh, what a clutch. It's just going to force the Rolling Thunder. That can be spam. And they're going to use that to go for this Pudge instead. Suddenly, it's an entire Tundra.
Tofu killing off Saxa in the process, which was, well, that was pretty neat. But regardless, Doraccio is just having a very rough time. It's a hero that needs quite a bit of build-up and sustain to be able to stay alive. And in this case, he just doesn't have any armor at the ready. He's just not at the point where he can man fight just yet. And if they're not careful, that might never come in this game, even though Ace is stupidly farmed. And Ace almost does have a Blink Dagger, so their team fight is still very dangerous to deal with from the Gaimin Gladiator side. But they are kind of being picked off in its entirety by Tundra's rotations.
There goes, good old last clicks, and this is the first time I think we're going to be able to get to see this CK have the success. And man, he's even going for the Silver Edge just in case that Pudge starts getting a little bit too tanky. I don't even think he needs it, honestly. So that has me even more scared. This Pudge has been unable to find success. I see no reason that's going to be changing anytime soon. He's trying to work on that BKB so late on. Just able to finish it now. It's on its way on a good old courier. And they want to use that timing to go for a pick. Though the issue is Tundra, once again, they're going aggressive on the options. Oh no. They're not going to be able to get here in time. This is going to be an Aegis for the Chaos Knight.
Yeah, it's only the first roach. It's not too problematic. CK, it's a pretty decent hero for the Aegis, but without the BKB, it gets a bit more dangerous this game, considering even the Crystal Maiden's freeze is very hard to deal with if you can't get out of that spot. But they're going in, and again, Thompson charging forward. The Ravage is blown, but it catches the backline. However, the Phoenix comes just in time. Doraccio is going to get the nom onto Thompson, going to get the kill secured. Thompson just going to barely survive, Rolling Thunder through. And now they need to again disengage on the side of Gaimin Gladiator. It's actually 33 is going to be left behind alone. They even find Snaking on the side. 33 is trying to look at that sustain coming out from the Broodmother. Is it enough to keep him alive? Yes! Or no, it just barely will mean his death. The one that they kind of needed if they were going for a full-blown engagement there on the side of Tundra was their CK, who was, well, he TP'd bottom because he saw farm and wanted farm.
Farm is good. Taking a small sacrifice of the Broodmother, they're not going to worry about that. She's caused so much desolation and destruction. Having the Rubik removed, not wanting Sasuke have that same level of success, and they almost catch out Quinn in response. Man, this CK is problematic. And the Silver Edge being finished up just now.
Well, yeah, they need to bulk up on Gaimin Gladiator side. Duracho is going to get caught out again. That is his 8th death this game.
God.
That is a safe lane Pudge that died 8 times. Oof.
And the fact that Pangolier's relying on these, you know, Javelin, Maelstrom procs, or at least he would normally. Instead, it's just the Basher. He's getting all the damage out with the Phoenix magic, and he doesn't even have a Maelstrom to help? Or the Javelin procs? That's insane! And now the CK's left in a little bit of an awkward...
Thundery on the run, will be caught out. The Rolling Thunder is going to chase in for more. But the big plus, as you mentioned, with the Basher on the Pango is that they have a BKB piercing stun at this point. So even if the Ember pops his BKB or the Pudge pops his BKB, they have a way to interrupt it at the very least. It's going to be a fight for more. Nightfall going in onto Ace. Silver Edge would not be a bad choice here for the CK, possibly, to get that break on the Tide later down the line. But they are keeping the network
he's already
pretty
has
even.
it fully kitted. And even has the Mage Slayer to boot. He has everything he needs. I would say they'd use it on the Pudge, but apparently they can just right-click with a little bit of Phoenix assistance. The Pango does enough damage to go through anything he's had because he's had such a poor game. He's unable to contest. They're setting up with this Silver Edge. That's going to be a super dead
Big
CM.
Ravage play coming out. The
Hunter
Duracho
creates
jumping
good
in.
space.
Gets the catch. Thompson has a Rolling Thunder available. Duracho's BKB might come soon enough. They're going to continue forward, and that Rolling Thunder came in at the end of the BKB. Duracho is going to get forced back to the other side, taken down in the process. But there is still Quinn in the fight. They get a pretty decent catch going forward onto 33. Thompson's trying to get the stun lock onto Quinn. Quinn's actually in trouble. Quinn's dead.
Oh
Big
my
smack coming
God.
out from Nightfall.
No.
The Aegis is going to get popped. Celery with the freezing field onto Thompson. But the bash in return means Celery will be found out, and it is a disaster for Gaimin Gladiator. The break comes into play. Ace slowed down. The Basher going ham on Tofu. And that's a full team wipe soon to be happening. I don't think that they're going to stop. And indeed, they're going to get them all destroyed. It started so well with
1 HP. I'm in Viz. I could get out of this, try to reset and regain, but I'm going to take the fight, catch the opportunity. As you see here, they just set up and wait, and wait. They do find that initial opening, gets the CM. They have the Rolling Thunder able to follow through, so even though the Pudge tries to BKB out of there, he's completely removed. He's taken out, and even finding the opportunity later to take out the Ember. I was thinking, like, well, you just take out the rest of the team. What the Ember is going to do, he doesn't have a team behind him. They'll just take out the Ember anyways. The CK has enough lockdown to nuke. The fact that he has a Mage Slayer and the Silver Edge provides so much damage as we go back to another fight in the man fight, and that Phoenix stun goes through. The Ember's too low. The CK should be able to easily lock him down, but just barely the escape comes through. That's not going to stop the chase.
Rolling Thunder in again, getting the catch. Ace is going to get slowed down, but Duracho is the big target that they want to lock and load out of existence. The bounces are superb. Duracho is stunned up again. 3 second CK stun. Going for more. Quinn's going to get bashed up by Thompson.
Oh my
and
God!
Thompson is on a roll. Mega kill streak on the Pango, and I guess I stand corrected with my prediction here, because it looks, Trevor, like you are going to be right on the money.
I mean, I was expecting a Tundra win. Not like this. Not God on the Pango. And with the Broodmother, these towers are non-existent. They're trying to use the Ags with the Gush on the Tidehunter to deal with the Broodlings. I mean, it does work, but it's going to be a bit too late. There's 2 racks completely eradicated. They still have 20 seconds left. And this Pudge is just no competition for the side of Tundra.
Dorachu's had a pretty disastrous game, to say the least. And right now, they do have a significant advantage here on the Tundra side. And I've significantly also underappreciated the amount of damage and healing that comes out of the Sunray from the Phoenix. It has been pretty solid to take down these Gaimin Gladiator cores all throughout the game, and even keep their heroes alive. Like, their sustain is just out of this world. It's kind of what they won TI with. The Tundra roster, obviously, with 33 constantly going for the Wraithback. They kept going with their sustain drafts, and there we have the hero damage Thompson at the top. Not too surprising, but look at that Phoenix in 3rd place, 15k damage dealt by a 5-position snaking Phoenix.
Well, again, look at this Gaimin Gladiators lineup. Who's going to stand in the middle of the team fight long enough to burst down the egg? No one. This Phoenix can freely place down this egg wherever the hell they feel like to just get this map control, get this stun, and just get all this damage in, and even have the heal, the sustain to help keep his team alive on top of the Guardian Greaves on the Broodmother. These cores on Tundra are going to be unkillable, despite Gaimin Gladiators feel like they have the tanky strength lineup. Denied the Roche for quite a bit. They're going to have to patiently wait that one out.
Well, Roche will respawn in, long respawn timer, almost full duration, 2 minutes and 50 seconds still left. They are gonna smoke up on the Gaimin Gladiator side, see if they can get a catch, and start off an engagement with a man advantage is what they're looking for. Thompson is the one that they almost always jump for, and this time it seems they might be able to kill him off in time. Snaking at the end, this gets it popped. There's no buyback available coming through. They don't have an invis detection here. Charging forward, the CK going for more. The Phoenix Egg gets dropped. They're going to try and right-click it down, and the Phoenix Egg of Snaking is finally taken care of. Quinn gets his 2nd kill because of it, but they're looking for more on the high ground. They're looking for the Rubik because he's doing so much. Oh my lord, Ace gets destroyed by Nightfall. Rachu tries to eat his way to victory, but that's not going to be coming through. Nice bushwhack stun to keep them alive for a bit longer. They are on the run right now, and Quinn's being chased by Saxa, who stole the fire remnants. They do even have a Wraithback on the Broodmother. They do have stupid amounts of sustain, but the extra armor coming out from the AC as well. It is hard to kill off the heroes of Tundra when they are grouped up. And even the
There it is. Checkmate's been brought out. The Bloodthorn with the heart. This man's going to be unkillable. You can see he's positioning to try to solo gank this Ember himself. They know the BKB is still down for another 30 seconds. He's ready to go in. They're going to use the Rubik to set up, find the opening initiation, the silence, the Bloodthorn. But there's enough escape that he's able to stay alive just for the moment. They know the Bloodthorn's in play, but what do? You have the information, but there's no counter. This Ember is in trouble, and he's going to have no way to respond.
They are in a pretty rough spot right now. So if you predicted it correctly, you could get yourselves a nice little profit there over at Betboom with a free bet of $15. And that would definitely go a long way. Also, if Tundra win this map, aka the series, that would mean that we would have an interview with Snaking. So if anyone's got any specific questions for Snaking, write them out in chat. I'll see if I can read them in time. Obviously the game is not done just yet, but it is looking very rough against the very sustainable lineup of Tundra.
What do you do in this situation? The only benefit is the fact that this Roshan's up and they want to try a little bit safe. It's not going to stop the CK from silver edging through. And they have the gym. It's on the Ember Spirit though, so this Pudge is going to be a free snack. This CM has no movement. They're able to pop the Aeon Disc, but that just means Phoenix is going to be like, okay, I'll just go the egg, force you guys back even further, harass you, leave you back.